It's another beautiful day here in the Shire, and these cookies were never meant to steal the spotlight. They've always been something Renee just threw together to use up extra scraps of dough when she makes a pie. She noticed that they disappeared long before dinner even made it to the table. And someone always asked, "Are there any of those little cinnamon things left?" Then, people started asking her to make just the cookies instead of the pies. And, believe it or not, she's found that the uglier they are, the better they taste. This time, Renee's making
the world's most dangerous cookie, aka cinnamon things. A thin pie dough rolled into a tight cinnamon swirl. Once baked, you get a sugar cap that snaps and a wonderful chewy caramel bite. You need to get the rough measurements of the ingredients right, the trick so the spirals stay neat, and get it so the edges caramelize just right. They are not pretty, but they are so good. And today, I'll show you exactly how to make these. Okay, so we're gonna start with a pie crust. I have a pie crust here that you can go and watch. I'm making a 1-crust pie crust. You can double this. I say that because these things go like that because they are so good. I'm gonna start with some flour, and I'm gonna add a little bit of salt and a little bit of sugar. I'm gonna take my handy dandy pastry cutter, what is this? It's a pastry cutter, I'm sure. And then I'm gonna go get some, I'll be right back.
Call them cinnamon things. They're ugly and bold, but they...
Okay, so you always want to keep your ingredients cold for these pie doughs. And what I have here is a bit of lard and a bit of butter. I'm making half butter, half lard. You can make this full butter. You can make it with all lard. Sometimes people use shortening, and I have done that a lot in my life. Whatever you want to use for a fat is absolutely fine. And we're going to cut this in. And as always, you don't want to touch your pie dough too much, but you're trying to keep that temperature cold. And so we're just going to take this and cut this in so that they're about pea-shaped sizes. Pea-sized shapes. Pea-shaped sizes. Pea-sized. We'll go pea-sized. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. So now we have some ice water, and I'm going to start. It's about a half a cup I have here, and I'm just going to start and mix this in. And if you notice when I'm mixing, I try not to cut too much. I'm trying to just get that flour, that whole mixture wet. Okay, so once you get that so that everything looks wet, don't touch it anymore. I mean, you're gonna have to pick it up obviously, but we're gonna just take the spatula and we're gonna just mix that into a ball gently. And what I'm going to do is get a piece of saran wrap, and I'm going to cut this into 2 pieces in half. And I'm going to wrap them both up. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. We're just going to let that sit in the refrigerator and get cold a little bit. And the only reason we're doing this is to just let this get cold and let that flour absorb as much of the water as possible. And then we'll be back in about, I'm going to leave these in for about 10 minutes because they're already very, very cold.
Sugar and scrap. They got a caramel ring. Ugly on purpose, but they do their part. Sugar and scrap. Never meant to.
Around here, we have always called these the cinnamon things because they are not pretty. I find that as you try to refine these things and make them foo-foo, they are not at all as satisfying. They're more like Eliza Doolittle before she got all fancy. Did you grow up making something like this with your leftover pie dough? What was it and what did you call them? I'd really like to know. Please let me know in the comments below. Okay, so I've taken this out of the refrigerator and we're just gonna, this is so easy. Just going to roll this out into a kind of a rectangle shape, but almost square. Okay, and the good thing about this is, see all those little chunks of butter? Those are going to pop in there and make this even crunchier. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do after we've rolled this out, and you can do the whole pie crust. I'm only doing half. It's just easier. I'm going to put a little bit of melted butter here. And these things are not attractive. But I'll tell you what, they taste so amazingly good. So we're going to put some butter on there. And then we're going to sprinkle some sugar. And you want this covered just a little bit extra, so the sugar is going to melt. And then we're going to take some cinnamon, and these are my spice containers that I have. They came in, I got them on Amazon, and there's a whole set of them, and you can name them whatever you want, and it keeps they're the most convenient thing on the face of the earth, really. So then we're going to take some cinnamon and sprinkle that over the top. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drizzle some so that this melts. If you don't add this butter, sometimes the sugar doesn't melt in there, depending on how tightly you wrap these. So I just always put some butter on top of it to help that dissolve. And these can in no way, shape, or form be considered a health food. But I will tell you that they're very good for the people around you and for they're so good. They're just one of the, it doesn't matter how many I make, they disappear in a minute. So now we're just going to roll this up kind of tightly, and I just keep pushing that end in so that the spices and butter don't drip out. I'm just going to pull that in a little bit. You don't have to have them really tight. And if it's sticking at all, I just take a spatula and scrape under there flat, keep the spatula flat. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is cut these, and I want them to be easy to cut, so I'm going to put them back in the refrigerator for just a few minutes. And I'm just going to wrap that up.
Edges burn gold with the cinnamon sting. Cut 'em thick, let the syrup run. Swirls all sloppy, but the taste is fun. Now keep it back.
Stick around, because in a few minutes, things are going to get messy, swirly, and nutritionally irresponsible right after this.
Okay, these have been in the oven. No, these have been in the refrigerator for about 10 minutes maybe. And I am now going to cut them, and they're much easier to deal with. So we're going to make these about a 1/2 inch wide, and you're just going to, don't cut down hard if you're using one of these. You just make sure you have a sharp knife. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our sheet, and I'm actually going to, I may have to heat this up a little bit. I'm actually going to butter the pan, the parchment paper. I would do these on parchment paper because I'm trying to create caramel, and that caramel is part of the bite on these. And while these look kind of messy, I've really worked on this recipe because they are so good. So I'm going to take the end and cut that off so that this lays flat. All right. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, and this is the added step, is I've got a little bit of butter left here, and I've got a flat bottom cup, and I'm going to dip this butter in because I want some butter on top of these, and I'm going to flatten those out. And I'm going to dip every time. And at this point, you can put these in the refrigerator if you'd like to cool them down. They haven't been out long enough. I can still feel the temperature. They're really cold. So I'm going to put these in a 350 oven for about 12 to 15 minutes, and then I'm going to, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. Okay. So here are the finished product. Like I said, you have to let they're not pretty, but just wait a moment because all of this is going to turn into something else, and I'm just going to let these sit here and cool for a moment, and I'll show you what's happening. And I can make these so that all the sugar and things stay inside, but I make them the way I make them because after hours of testing and trying different things, these are the absolute best way to make these. There's something that you just cannot stay away from. So we'll let those sit for about 5 minutes. We don't want them to cool completely because we want this caramel to come with them, but we'll give me 5 minutes here. Okay, so let's give these a try and see this. Oh, look at this caramelization. Oh, MG, really, these are so good. I know this sounds ridiculous, but that's exactly what you're looking for. This is like the perfect bite. If you bite into this and it's got all this caramelized sugar on the bottom, and that's why I put the butter on. These things are like nothing you've ever tasted. They are, look, they're stuck together. Look at this one. Those things are irresistible, and that's that. These are perfect. See, they're all stuck together because of that sugar and butter. Oh, look at those. That is like, they're just magical. Okay, let's give one of these a try. Which one do I want? I'll try this one. That is so perfect. Okay, I just love these so much. Oh. That is the chewiest, most yummy bite. I hope you make these. I know they look horrible, but these are the best. They're not wrapped too tight. They're just the best. I don't know. I have no words. These will literally be gone by the end of the day in this house with people coming. They'll be gone. Thank you, and I hope you make these. Thank you.
Ready for seconds? Don't put your spoon down yet. Tap this video, and Renee will meet you there.